Welcome into the Saints Insider Podcast. Today is Friday, September 19th, and this podcast host has his eyes on the other team from Seattle this weekend. Go Mariners. Beat the Astros. That's right. Beat the Astros. But we're here to talk about Saints Seahawks, guys. The other Seattle team, the football team, will be playing at home against the Saints 3:05 p.m. Sunday. We're going to break that game down for you. And you could look at this as a really tough spot for the Saints, Luke, or you could look at it as a really big opportunity for them to kind of show that this growth we think we've seen over 2 weeks is maybe real.
Yeah, I think they've been more competitive than people maybe expected, at least people outside of New Orleans for sure, in these first 2 weeks. So, if they go up there and they play Seattle tough or even steal a win up there, I think they're going to open a lot of eyeballs. But they'd open them because I think not a lot of people are believing they're going to go up there and do this. It's a tough place to play. It's a tough team against this specific Saints team. I think Seattle has a lot of just on-paper advantages in this game. So I think if they're able to kind of build on what they've done in the first 2 weeks and go up there and surprise some people, it'll definitely open some eyes. It'll open my eyes for sure.
Yeah, Rod, it's a tough spot. It's their first road game in one of...
Can I close my eyes while you're talking, while Luke's eyes are open over there?
Yeah, because he's saying his eyes aren't going to be open.
You're going in with eyes closed. Yeah,
eyes wide shut.
I mean, seriously, it's one of the toughest places to play in the league. It's your first road game. The last time we saw Spencer Rattler on the road was actually in Tampa. He played okay, at least for the first half. But the game before that was in Green Bay, which was a disaster. It's obviously a very good defense. In a lot of ways, this is a very difficult matchup.
Yeah, I mean, their Saints haven't done well on the road. They went 2-6 last year on the road. Haven't done well at home either, though. So, for what it's worth, but yes, it's definitely a difficult matchup. Seattle's, they're playing well. They played well last week against the Steelers and put up a lot of points and got to Aaron Rodgers. So, it's going to be a tough matchup for sure.
Jeff, you looking forward to the weather up there?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 60s, 70s, low 70s.
67 is a high on Sunday.
Can I do the 6, 7? Do you guys know what that is?
No.
I saw something on
my kids say 6. I couldn't help myself.
Right?
Oh yeah.
It's like this whole Gen Z memes are the most brainless things I've ever seen in my life, but that's the big one right now.
I know, yeah. Everybody's been talking about it.
Yeah,
Do we know what it is?
It's like
nobody here knows that.
It's the lyrics to a song. They're actually, I think they're talking about Lonzo Ball and the fact that he's 6'7", but I don't know how it became. It's totally random.
Anyways,
okay, we're off the
Wait
rails.
till those kids get a little older and
realize how stupid they are now. Yeah,
that won't happen.
Wow.
I'm yelling at Cloud.
Turning off our audience.
All right.
Good.
I'm glad they went out early to get acclimated. Right, they're practicing at UW outside.
Yep.
So and you said there might be a little rain.
Rain in the forecast Sunday morning. Maybe not by game time, but it's Seattle in September. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be rainy. So we'll see what we get weather-wise. But let's break this one down. First, want to let you know that the Saints Insider is brought to you by Bank Plus. From small business to big business, home loans to bank anywhere technology, Bank Plus is here for New Orleans. New deposit customers can reach out today to learn about incredible rate specials. Learn more at bankplus.net. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Betting line for this one shows Seahawks by 7.5, over under 41.5. You can get 3-1 on the money line if you like the Saints in this one. Feels like they should be more than 3-1.
It feels like it. There's been some. I think there's kind of some funky lines this week. This is kind of that time of year where we don't really know much about these teams, and you can kind of overreact to what you see the first 2 weeks. Much like we did with the Saints last year when they looked like world beaters through 2 games, and then came kind of crashing back to earth for week 3. So I think there's probably some caution on Vegas side when you don't really have a big sample size yet. At least that's how it would seem to be logically for me, having no idea how this stuff works.
And the crazy thing is, through 2 weeks, the favorites are doing exceptionally well. I don't think an underdog of more than a field goal has even won a game yet in the NFL. I can't. If they have, I can't think of who it would be.
How would anybody know that?
Well, I can think of a reason Zach would know.
Well, I would know. All right, I would know. The Bucs beat the Texans on Monday night. They were an underdog by 2 points or something. But it just hasn't happened. So somebody is going to spring the first big upset. See if it can be the Saints. One issue they have guys' injuries, and again, as usual, we're recording this on Friday. Saints are practicing on the West Coast, so we don't have an injury report for Friday yet. We know Dylan Radins is out. He didn't make the trip to Seattle. Talifuanga and Chase Young have not practiced all week. Chase Young especially, I think you have to look at as, if he's not even practiced in 3 weeks, he's not going to play. And then Fuaga, who knows? But they are getting Trevor Penning.
2 weeks is already out for this game, as you mentioned. You'd be talking about probably playing Torselli Simpkins there, undrafted rookie going up against a really good front in a difficult place to play. I have really serious questions about whether Talifuaga is going to play in this game. They need Trevor Penning out there if he's ready to go. If he gets cleared hot, he needs to be there.
Do you get the impression that Fuaga aggravated the injury, or just they were looking at it and saying he's not effective out there?
No, it's new. It's a back.
It's the back injury
this is
now,
the back now. Okay.
Yeah, it's the back that's keeping him out. His knee injury was the good news on it is that it's not structural at this point. It's an inflamed tendon, but the back thing is definitely concerning. I mean, he dealt with it last year. He didn't miss any games last year, but as all of us know as old men, we know how debilitating back injuries can be.
Why'd you look at me?
Because you're the oldest of the old men up here, my guy.
You're wearing Hakas, man.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's not.
And it's Hokas. Anyways,
He's even older than me. Sounds like.
I'm too young to know how to say the word.
No, back injuries are really, debilitating. Anybody who's been through it knows that it's hard to even bend down and tie your shoes, much less go out there and try to defend some 255-pound freak athlete on the edge. So, I am not confident in him going out there. I don't know if there's enough Toradol in the world to get him through that game and play right. So, it's going to be up to probably Awesome Richards, who I think stepped in and played pretty well when given the opportunity in week 1. He played 32 snaps, even though he only played in the fourth quarter. But that's a big step down. Even though he played well, it's a big step down. So a tough week for this to happen because it's a really, really good Seattle front.
And they'll have to have a plan. I'm sure they will. The fact that he was on the injury report early in the week, I'm sure they've game planned to give him some help on the right side because Seattle, Mike McDonald's going to test Richards if he's out there.
And look, we see the tryout list on Tuesday. It's got a bunch of offensive tackles on it. You probably knew right then that there's not a very good chance that he's going to play in this game.
Awesome Richards, like you said, has played well. What's the plan if he or Kelvin Banks should leave this game? What are we looking at? Is Trevor Penning kicking back out to tackle in his first game back?
Xavier Watts is another guy they claimed off waivers at the start of the, right after cutdown day. And he's somebody who played some guard and tackle in the preseason. Maybe he's an option there, but it might be Trevor Penning sliding out if they need it.
And Simpkins goes up, and we'll know who's active. It'll be interesting to see how many offensive linemen they have active for the game.
Yep. Find that out 90 minutes before the game. Rod, on the other side of the ball, what's the deal with Chase Young? He said, no, this is not a long-term injury, but this is now 3 weeks. He signed the big contract in the offseason. You can kind of feel frustration rising in the fan base with Chase.
Yeah, he's a guy that obviously I've talked about thinking he's going to have a good year, but definitely not getting off to a good start, him not being out there. And they could definitely use him. They're much better with him on the field than they are without him. So I don't know how long this is going to linger, but, we don't think he's playing this week. Buffalo probably doesn't matter if he plays or not. You just I don't know.
Maybe hold him out.
Hold him out till the Giants come to town. I don't know. But yeah, that's a big loss for the defense that he hadn't been able to help him out at all this season.
Chase Young not getting 3 sacks of Josh Allen. You're not forecasting for that.
Nah.
He'd be at 20% of his way to your goal though.
Yeah.
I think the same frustration I've heard is going on in Denver. I think Dre Greenlaw's got a calf. Same thing. He hasn't played. He was a big offseason free agent signing. So he's not, not alone here. I mean, those are like finicky, soft tissue injuries you don't want to push.
Yeah, calves, hamstrings, that sort of thing. That's something you can pretty quickly re-injure. But like they do need him back out there. Like they're going to need him over the long haul of the season. Like they want to see what he looks like in this defense over the long haul. But like they really do need him. He's easily their biggest like impact playmaker on their defensive front. We saw it all throughout training camp. He looked really, really good, comfortable in this Brandon Staley defense, and I think he's still going to. I still think he's going to be a good player when he gets back. It's just like, kind of need you out there, buddy.
I think the first time they talked to him, I wasn't in the locker room that day, but I think he had people thinking that it was just going to be something else, a week or two, and he'll be back, and that hadn't been the case. So I think that's what some of the frustration comes in.
I think you're right. I think his comments on it kind of fueled some of the frustration.
He probably oversold his ability to come back quickly. On the Seahawks side, by the way, while we're talking injuries, they have a little bit of a cluster injury at safety. Julian Love and Nick Emenworry, the rookie, have both, I think, missed Wednesday and Thursday practice. Is that right?
I think that is correct, yeah. I mean, Julian Love is really the big one. I mean, Emenworry's a rookie. He hasn't played a ton. Julian Love is a playmaker back there. He's really, really good for him. So, I mean, that would help the Saints' offense out if he's not out there because they can do a lot of different things with him. But I still think this game is definitely going to come down to the trenches. This is not a one where you want to be missing offensive linemen, and unfortunately, that's a spot the Saints are in right now.
And of course, Vernon Broughton also out for the season after last week's game, so that's another D lineman that the Saints are without. So,
and we didn't mention Vele's out. I mean, he was. What was it? He was limited yesterday.
Yeah, he popped up as limited, sure.
With the hip injury, and that's
when you see that happen midweek,
when
he wasn't on the injury report. Like if it happens like on a specific day, it means it probably happened in practice,
right.
Which is never a good sign. I mean, that's what happened with Chase Young.
Right.
Yeah, and he started kind of finding his groove last week. They started looking for him, targeted him a few more times.
Caught the red zone touchdown.
Yeah. So that's not a good loss if he can't play.
So some extra challenges in what is already a challenging situation for the Saints offense. We are going to break down that side of the ball right after we take a break here on the Saints Insider Podcast.
Banking has come to a crossroads. Do you want to bank with an actual bank, with actual people? One that you can walk into? Or drive through, get real help from a real person? Or do you want a bank that lives inside your phone? A digital bank that gives you control of your money anywhere, anytime. Well, why not both? Bank Plus, a partner in your corner, wherever that may be.
Did they ask you to do the commercial too?
Yeah, but they just gave me one line.
Bet like a Caesar. Like, we're going to sit here and we're going to tell them how Caesar's Sportsbook is just so easy to use that you can watch and bet thousands of sports events, even some NFL games.
They'll probably show us betting on our favourite players and teams at all the Vegas hotspots too.
Like, we have time for that montage.
I told him I couldn't do it.
They couldn't afford me.
And welcome back to the Saints Insider, Friday, September the 19th. Subscribe to the Saints Insider on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And while you're at it, leave us a review or a thumbs up. Leave your comment about how you think the Saints will do against the Seahawks. We'll have our predictions at the end of the show. First, we're going to break this thing down, starting, as we always do, when the Saints have the ball. We've talked a little bit about it. Jeff, like, this offensive line is makeshift. You're going to have to figure it out against a really good Seattle front seven.
Yeah, and I think Kellen Moore will have a plan. I mean, he's shown already. I think he can be creative. Probably move the pocket a little bit more than what we've seen so far. But this will be a test for them. Luke made that point. I mean, this is a good Seattle front, so I think they're going to have to kind of move the pocket, do some, counter moves, if you will, get their eye discipline, test their eye discipline up front. And I think they've got to be able to run the ball. They ran the ball pretty well last week against a good front in San Francisco. If they can get that same amount of production on the ground, it could set up some things. We talked about the Seattle safety situation. Love is one of the more underrated players in the league. So if he's not available, we could see them maybe test them deep. They've given up some points, especially to Rod's Steelers last week. So it's not a team that can't be moved the ball. If Aaron Rodgers can move it at age 40-something, I think Spencer Rattler can do it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Kellen handles this defensive front. But they've got Leonard Williams, stud. Byron Murphy, first-round pick from last year, stud. DeMarcus Lawrence is like on the back end of his career. He's basically their version of Cam Jordan, but he's still giving them some productive snaps. You got Boye Mafe, Derek Lee. Both of those guys, I think, have 10 pressures already this year on quarterbacks. And Seattle is doing everything with his pass rush with 4 guys.
No blitzing.
Yeah, they have the second lowest blitz rate in the league at 13%. So I think with Kellen, like he's been doing like so much quick game. I think we'll probably see a lot more of that this week with Spencer trying to get the ball out quick. I do think their secondary is. Well, they have some players in the secondary.
Weatherspoon's a stud.
Weatherspoon. What's the other cat they got out there? Guy gave up there. Tariq Woolen.
Tariq Woolen, but he's kind of lost.
He has
lost his fastball.
Yeah, I think they're gettable in the secondary,
right.
But it's all about the front and getting the ground game going, getting the quick passing game going, and taking shots as they're available. If Julian Love's not there, maybe there's a couple opportunities to do that. But it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough sledding against this group.
Rod, we almost bring this up every week, but like I feel like the Saints have to almost be stubborn in running the ball. Like get that established, make that front think about it, maybe mix in some play action after that. It's got to be a big part of this game plan.
Yeah,
you would think.
Yeah, I think the Saints can't fall behind early. Whether if you do that, then you maybe can't run. But I think they definitely need to establish. And if you look at Kamara's history against us, and I know this is a different team, different Saints team, but Kamara's done really well against the Seahawks. Every time he's played them, I think the average is 178 yards from scrimmage in 3 games, which is, it's a lot of yards. They've given him a lot of touches against them, and he's done really well against them. And so I think if you see a heavy dose of Kamara and Kendre Miller, I think that's a good formula if you can get, if you can get the running game going, not playing behind the chains the whole game, where Spencer Rattler's having to face the pressure that he's going to see on Sunday.
That 2019 game, Teddy Bridgewater's first start.
Yeah,
Kamara was awesome in that game.
He's been awesome in all of them.
Every single time he's played the Seahawks.
2022, he and Taysom both had huge games. It was a shootout the Saints won at the Dome. Obviously, a totally different defensive staff and personnel for the Seahawks.
Of course, but like this has been a trend, and I'm looking forward to potentially writing about it again. Because when AK goes off, it is just so much fun. Yeah. Like he's such a fun player. If they can really get him involved and try to get him in positions to make explosive plays, especially in the passing game. I mean, he's averaging like 2 yards a catch right now. I think there's opportunities to get him more involved as a pass catcher, where you're using him like in the extension of the run game. So hopefully we get to see that this weekend, because like that it is always really, really fun when he has like a vintage Alvin Kamara performance.
I saw this crazy stat, and somebody in Seattle was talking about it, but that 178 yards or whatever he's averaging against the Seahawks is the 3rd most by any player against one team in the Super Bowl era. I didn't see who the other 2 guys were, but they didn't have that. But that just shows you how dominant he's been against this team. So, and again, that's a different team, so it doesn't really.
Yeah.
I don't know how much stock you put into historical.
Is it just seeing the blue and green uniforms makes him? I don't know about that, but to me, when we talk about the Saints offense and how they're going to perform, a lot of this is important. Obviously, running game, offensive line play. Spencer Rattler, to me, is like, can he perform under this kind of pressure in this road environment? Like, that's the question that needs to be answered, at least in a neutral state, to say, yeah, he was fine, in order for the Saints to have any kind of success here.
Yeah, I think he can do that. I mean, what we've seen so far, if he just plays with that same poise, the same sound decision-making, not staying out of negative plays, I don't have any problem with what I've seen so far. I just think he can't resort to hero ball. He hasn't done that so far. And look, I think Kellen Moore, I said this before, Kellen Moore and the staff have done a really good job of playing to his strengths and kind of masking some of the things that have caused him problems in the past. He's playing much better this year than he played a year ago. And I think a lot of that has to do with his, 1-year experience, having an off season in the system, but also I think this staff is doing a really good job with Spencer Rattler. I don't think we should overlook what they're doing with a guy that a lot of people didn't think maybe was even a starting quarterback in the league.
And he played in a hostile environment last weekend.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Low blow. Yeah.
Yeah, but like seriously though, if he goes out there and has a similar game to what he had last week against the tough 49ers defense, on the road, down a couple offensive linemen maybe, I think that'll answer a lot more questions. Yeah. Right, like he's been answering questions these first 2 weeks, and this is like the next step in the evolution. And like he could go out there and really struggle. I think a lot of people have in that environment against this defense. And I don't know if that would necessarily be like this big nail in the coffin for his career or whatever. But like I do think that he can go out there and show like, yeah, I can do it at home against good defense, and I can do it on the road against good defense.
And the way he's played so far is the recipe, as you mentioned, Jeff. Like quick throws, not making him go through a bunch of complicated decisions. That's what's going to work against this defense. So I think the recipe is at least there.
I do want to see though, like I want to see more yak opportunities, and I think that Spencer plays a part in that. He needs to be more accurate with the football. Yeah. The quick game stuff it works great, but like it forces you to just be on all the time, because otherwise you're not going to score points. You put a 15-play drive together, it's really hard to do that. So like they need to develop some explosives somehow, even if it's within the quick game, where they can get these guys the ball in some space and let them make plays after the catch.
Yeah, like the Jennings touchdown against the Saints, a great example.
Yeah,
I mean he hits him in stride, doesn't break stride, and is able to run 40 yards for a touchdown.
Right, he hit him like 12 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and then we've seen Spencer miss ones like with Olave in the end zone where he's throwing behind him, even if he were in a zone, say at midfield, he's going to catch that and get tackled.
The one Alvin fumbled on.
He's trying to just catch the ball.
The one Alvin fumbled on could have been a pretty good play,
right,
if it's thrown to the other side of Alvin. Instead, it was a fumble because he had to catch it. So
right.
Awkward.
And individual plays you're nitpicking, but when it's a
trend, yeah,
trend, that's when it becomes.
Yeah, because sometimes he's fitting it in a window, he's trying to keep it away from the defense, but overall, that's something he's got to get better at.
Yeah. Okay, flipping it around now, when the Seahawks have the ball, this is an area where the Saints could have an advantage this week. Like Sam Darnold didn't look very good against San Francisco 2 weeks ago, maybe a little better against the Steelers. But he's kind of lost that pixie dust he had in Minnesota last year a little bit. And, I think the Seahawks have some questions on offense too.
Yeah, I think they have a really good running back in Kenneth Walker. I think they have a really good number one in Jackson Smith and Jigba. And outside of that, there's not a whole lot that really scares me about this Seattle offense.
Not even Cooper Kupp.
No, definitely not Cooper Kupp. God, I'm gonna look terrible if he goes out there and catches 7 balls for 110 yards this week. But he's not somebody who really 5 years ago, yes. Now, no. I mean, he's been injured and hurt the last couple of years. He doesn't really strike a lot of fear into me. And I think their offensive line is still kind of a work in progress there. The thing that it's less about Darnold and it's more about they're going to attack the perimeter of the Saints defense. That's what Kubiak does. It's what he succeeded with last year with the Saints. If you look, the Saints are doing really well when they're defending runs between the tackles, but they've given up some explosives on the perimeter. Christian McCaffrey had a number of runs last week. Even though the run defense generally was pretty solid last week, he had a couple they popped for 10, 15 yards against the Saints, all those on the perimeter. The big 52-yard run was a perimeter run where Ike Yadam lost contain on the edge and just scooted around when you needed a touchdown-saving tackle from Carl Granderson. That to me is a little bit of a concern going into this week.
And if they can get after Darnold, that's where he really struggles. I mean, he's kind of reminds me a little bit of like Matt Ryan. And then if he's got a clean pocket in time, I mean, you can see why he's a first-round draft pick, because he can definitely make every throw needed. But when he's under duress, he turns into the great pumpkin pretty quickly. I mean,
he is a good athlete, but you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can make some mistakes. And we saw it last year in Minnesota. After that great year, he really –
at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, in the playoffs, he had a really rough game. But it's easier said than done. They've invested a lot in their offensive line. I think they're better up front than they have been. And that running game with K9, I mean, they have two of the better nicknames in the league, K9 And, well, it's JSN's not really a great nickname, but those two guys are both studs. I mean, I think JSN's one of the most underrated players in the league. A lot of other guys are underrated, I think, because they're so way out in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
But, he's a big-time player. And Kupp, now I'm going to bet the over on his over-under yardage after
He had 90 yards against the Steelers. He's going to get his.
When he's healthy, man, he's still
He's like
really
really
good.
Luke just totally forgot what he did to the Saints a few years back.
Because it was a few years ago. I didn't understand like anything Seattle did this offseason, by the way. It's like they just like chose to downgrade at a bunch of positions,
Including quarterback.
quarterback. I mean, I'm not like a huge fan of DK Metcalf. I think he's kind of one-dimensional as a player, but going from DK to Cooper Kupp, I think was a big downgrade.
Oh, for sure.
They made this splashy signing for Tank Lawrence, who again, like I said, like I feel like he's like at the Cam stage of his career, where I don't know exactly how much he's going to give you. Like he's going to be a nice additional piece, I guess, but I don't know, man.
Do we think that Seattle's going to be conservative on offense just because they can expect their defense to win games, Rod? Klint Kubiak, we all know he's going to want to run the ball. That's his DNA. So maybe that's just what they're going to do anyway. But I feel like it could be a situation where they're going to come say, we'll just grind out 20 points, and if you can come beat us, then beat us.
Yeah, I mean, I can see them. I mean, if the run game's working early, yeah, I can definitely see them doing that. And but if it's not, I mean, I think they do have enough weapons on offense where they can throw it if they have to. And I think, I can see Kool-Aid and Ike Yadam getting tested this week often. So
Ike Yadam, man, it was not good.
Yeah, he struggled with Ricky Pearsall. I think that's what he is, though. Like
He's not a
this
starting
is
He's a
this
third
is-
corner, yeah.
Well, this is who we talked about coming into the season. It's just, he can do some nice things for you, but he's not going to be this lockdown corner out there. He had a nice season with the Saints a couple years ago, but I think they're just kind of waiting for when Quincy Riley's ready for him to be in that lineup.
Yeah. All right, moving on to special teams. I don't know that there's a lot to talk about here. The Saints expressed confidence in Blake Rupe after a couple of missed kicks. That's to be expected. The Seahawks caught the Steelers napping last week in special teams. Rod, you want to talk about that play?
I don't remember. I didn't see
Oh, you didn't see it?
Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, there was a it was a kickoff that goes into the end zone, and Caleb Johnson and the rest of the Steelers just kind of run off the field expecting
that's
it
what
to
you
be
were
a
telling me
touchback.
about. Yeah.
And the ball just stayed in the corner of the end zone. And I think, to Seattle's credit, like sign of a well-coached team, they had multiple guys racing down there, realizing that was a live ball, and they covered it for
I don't know
like a
if
free
they
touchdown.
caught him napping as they were gifted a touchdown by a
but I mean,
young
I do think
return
that
man.
there are some teams who would see the returning team running off the field and they may just follow suit and say, and then eventually the officials just blow the ball dead because it's just sitting there. But they had multiple guys going after it, so maybe I'm giving them too much credit.
Definitely turned that game. I mean, I think Seattle got about a field goal, and all of a sudden they're up 10.
You won't see that again in the NFL this year.
No. I'm surprised we saw it in the first place.
Yeah, no,
Rookie return man used to the college rules, I guess.
Who's Seattle's kicker? I'm blanking on his name.
Also blinking on his.
But I mean, he's
Jason.
Is it still Jason Myers?
Myers
yeah,
still?
Jason
Yeah.
Myers. He's got a big leg. It's amazing to me how many of these kickers now are routinely making them from 60. But in these conditions too, you can get some wind in Seattle.
Wind,
a little
little
bit.
rain can Groupie's degree of difficulty goes up, and he's already missed a couple. So
Yeah, it's not. I mean, there's a lot of humidity in the air there, right near the water. So it'll be interesting to see if he responds. I think this is a big game for him. He doesn't need another miss. Just mentally, I don't think it would be good.
And even on the kickoff that didn't go into the landing zone last week, Phil Galliano was talking about it yesterday. He said Groupie just kind of didn't kick. He like miskicked it.
That was astonishing.
Yeah.
Because I was just watching that. I was certain that was a play call,
Right.
and didn't even think to ask about it because I
Right.
was certain about it.
And yesterday he said that. I was like, whoa.
It's just a miss hit.
Oh,
That's really surprising.
so he's
It's just
basically like
crazy.
missed on. Yeah.
he almost mishit it into like this perfect bounce at the 20 and do exactly what you want it to do, but he missed by a yard. So
Right.
Interesting. These new rules, I think there's still like a feeling out process here that we're still seeing on special teams. Key to the game: Saints at Seahawks, 3:05 p.m. Sunday. Without giving away your pick, Rod, what is your key to this game?
I'm going to say the Saints can't turn the ball over. I know that's kind of obvious, but Seattle's had, I think, 2 picks in each game. They had 4 interceptions. Like, towards the top of the league in takeaways. So Spencer's been able to avoid that other than the throw to Kamara the other last week. So if they can avoid turnovers, I think it gives them at least gives them a chance. So I'm going to go with that.
All right, Luke?
I brought it up earlier on the show. They need to find a way to get some yards after the catch. I don't think they're going to be able to live with the trying to sling the ball deep downfield against this front. I don't think they're going to have a ton of time to throw. It's going to be a lot of quick passing game again. So with that, they need to find ways to the 3 touchdowns last week. All of them came. He was targeting slot defenders on rub concepts. They're getting guys open in space, all against man coverage. That was nice. Let's see some more of that style of football and try to get guys ball in space on target so they can catch it and move at the ball because they've got playmakers. Even if Shaheed is not somebody who's you want necessarily trying to burst through tackle attempts or whatever and get yak that way. We've seen it on punt returns. The guy can move in the open field. It's not just that he's a vertical threat. So I think there's more meat on the bone there. I don't know if it's going to happen with Olave. I honestly think there might be some residuals from the concussions the last couple of years. He's been kind of going down pretty quick after he makes a catch. But I think there's yak opportunities there for Shaheed and for Kamara. Juwan Johnson's got 65 yards after the catch on his 125 yards this year. He can give you some. So generate some explosives that way, and try not to go 10-play drives against this defense.
Jeff?
Yeah, I'd like to see them. I wanted to see it last week. They did get after him on one turnover last week, but I'd like to see them somehow steal a possession maybe with the special teams. Maybe get a block or something like that, a turnover produced by the defense. I'd like to see them ball hawk a little better, something like that. I think they're going to need that because I do think it's going to be kind of tough sledding, especially with the offensive line injuries offensively. So if they can get a short field, give Rattler the offense short field with the D or special teams, that'll go a long way. We've seen a lot of that around the league in these first 2 weeks. I mean, there's a lot of turnovers, a lot of special teams mistakes. We talked about one in the Pittsburgh game. Saints need to get something like that, I think, to help out the offense.
I'm going to go with just stopping the run. We've seen when Klint Kubiak's offenses get the run game going, they'll pull the rug out from under you and get big plays off of that. Didn't happen a lot for the Saints last year, but the first 2 games of the year, the Cleveland game later in the year, when the running game was working, that's when this offense can really be difficult to defend, and I think the Saints need to get that done.
And to that point, I mean, they have to tackle well because Walker is a guy that can break tackles. He's kind of low center of gravity and very explosive. So they got to tackle well. We've seen that hurt them, not necessarily in the running game, but early on they've had some missed tackles in open field.
All right, so that is our breakdown of Saints Seahawks. Let's get to our predictions. You can leave your pick in the comments below. Do you think the Saints pull off a big upset to get their first victory of the season, or are you on Team 0-3? Matt Paris is on Team 0-3. He's already out in Seattle, and he's got the Seahawks winning 28-17. So that'd be higher scoring than the experts think. Rod, what do you think?
I have the Seahawks winning 24-10. The Seahawks defense is not giving up a lot of points, and I don't see the Saints being able to just drive the field on them. And they'll need to get an extra special teams or an extra possession, like Jeff said, on a turnover, I think, to even score on this team. So I'm going 24-10.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is an old school football game. A lot of runs. Maybe the weather contributes to that. Maybe it doesn't. It's just the way the teams are going to play. I think Seattle knows they can kind of get through this one being conservative. They have a Thursday game coming up. We haven't mentioned that. I think they play Arizona, or is it Arizona on Thursday. Week. So, kind of a quick turnaround to a divisional game there. So maybe they're just trying to get home. I'm 19-13. That's the Saints covering the 7.5 spread. But I just don't ultimately trust this offense to score a lot on that defense in that environment.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I have Seahawks 26-16. Touchdown, bunch of field goals. I think Blake Grupe gets right. But it's just that this front, again, really, really good, really talented, really deep, and the Saints are already down a couple offensive linemen. I think it's just gonna make it tough to score this week.
19. How are they getting to 19? The safety and
Touchdown, 4 field goals. Do that.
okay.
Or maybe a missed extra point somewhere along the line, 2 field goals.
Yeah, that's good. I like those odd scores. Try to do that. No, I think I picked very similar to what everybody else picked.
27-13 is what
Yeah, I mean, just a big tough test. I do think they catch them at a good time. You know, after a big road win, it's easy to get fat and happy coming back home, get complacent. You got a big division game the next week. Saints should be very hungry to get that first win. I don't think they've been 0-3 since 2014, which would be the first time they've gone 0-3 to start a season in a long time. I just don't know how they can overcome it unless they just muddy this game up and, you know, sort of like that opener Seattle played against San Francisco, where really Seattle was in control of that game for the most part and then lost it at the end. Maybe something like that happens. You put together a 2-minute drive. We've seen Rattler do it and pull it out, but there's too many things working against them, I think, on the road.
All right, so that is our story. Norm, you thumbs up or thumbs down here? Norm says thumbs. When even Norman's thumbs down, man. Our resident optimist for the Saints. You know things are bleak. I don't think any of us. No spoiler alerts, but next week in Buffalo it might be the same story. Toughest game of the season.
Shock the world.
Really toughest stretch of the season for the Saints. So if they could pull out a victory out of these two, I think it changes the way you feel about the season.
I think so.
But that's obviously much easier said than done. So we will have a post-game show for you, virtual style, but Luke, Jeff, and Matt will all be in Seattle, so they may join us from Lumen Field when possible. Rod and I will definitely be on there on Sunday, so look for that, I guess, early Sunday evening. And I may be watching Mariners-Astros in the background. That's Sunday night that week.
Good
so
Lord.
You
By
may
the way,
you may have to carry things, Rod.
All of our college teams undefeated?
Yes, I think so. DePaul is definitely undefeated.
Yeah, so I think, how long is that going to keep going?
Just 1 week. This is my last one here.
Who's State have this week?
Northern Illinois.
Oh, so you're saying next week?
Yes, next week.
Okay.
I think we'll all be unbeaten going into next week.
Probably so. Missouri's got South Carolina.
Bowling Green. They're kind of feisty MAC team.
Okay.
Yeah, South Carolina. Yeah. Well, Norm's Tulane, so if Tulane stays undefeated, that's really a story. They got Ole Miss. So
yeah, everybody's unbeaten, man.
All right, we're going to get out of here. Have a good weekend. We will see you Sunday night, Saints Seahawks post-game show. Enjoy the football, everybody. For our producer, Norman Bell, he's Rod Walker, he's Luke Johnson, he's Jeff Duncan. I'm Zach Ewing. Thanks for watching.